Welcome back to all of the students of our Lord Savior Yeshua HaMashiach, Yeshua the Christ. Now, it is our prayer tonight that we have no technical difficulties. Okay. Now, for some reason, we are under warfare, and that is not by accident and because what the bishop is going to expose. So if your screen freezes, don't petulate, don't get scared, just restart your system. Okay. Praise God, because this topic tonight disturbs me. And before we even go further, we're going to go into the power of prayer. And I really need you guys to pray for your bishop tonight. I was privileged to go, being sent by the iHeartMedia Group to do some interviews this past Monday at the Manhattan District Court, the criminal court. And I felt like, Pastor Sam, it was a procession. And what I mean by that, I felt like, President Trump was going to Mount Calvary. No, President Trump is not Christ, but I felt that in my spirit. And I want to first of all apologize to you guys. We were under attack last night, and someone or something somewhere does not want the truth to get out. And so for the next hour and a half to 2 hours, I want, first of all, to let the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, know I'm not castigating you, sir. I am not castigating your wife. I will not bring up your wife nor your two children. But District Attorney Bragg is being used. And District Attorney Bragg is not only being used, but he's being blackmailed. I will explain that. And that's why I really need your prayers tonight. Heavenly Father, send forth thy truth, for thy word is truth. Bring clarity and clearness to the airwaves. We come against and we curse every demon that would try to hinder tonight's teaching. In the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, Yeshua the Christ. Father God, it's in you, Lord, that we live, move, and have our very being. And we pray tonight, Father God, that you will give clarity, clearness of speech, that not only a legal scholar can understand what the bishop is saying from a biblical foundation, but even a child can properly understand and understand what the bishop will be teaching tonight. And teach us the application of thy truth. Oh God, please reveal unto us again what you are thinking. And please, Lord, keep back the demons of confusion. And we curse every spirit that would try to bring buffering and freezing to the screen. We plead your blood, Lord Jesus. And we apply your blood, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, over the airwaves. And allow us to come into the truth in Yeshua's holy name. I want to announce as well tonight that I'm calling my staff here in New York City, and also had a quick Zoom call with my staff in Los Angeles, and they felt, both our staff here and our staff in Los Angeles feel, that beginning tonight we need to have apostolic prayer teams covering me, because what I am going to expose this evening, this information can get you killed. Okay, let me say this again. This information can get you killed. So I am not going to reveal where I got the information, but I have to tell you we're being lied to. All right, let's go into the gospel that Christ taught. And let's go to a few passages of scripture. To the gospel according to St. Matthew. St. Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. And then I need you to matriculate going forward to the gospel on chapter 13, verse number 32. The gospel according to St. Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. The gospel according to St. Luke chapter 13, verse 32. Then I will need you to matriculate back into the Old Testament, to the book of the Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 15. That will be our key verse tonight. The Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse number 15. Now, if you're suffering, if you're seeing buffering, just turn off your computer and turn it back on, because I'm not going to stop tonight. Okay. And so if you are experiencing buffering, turn off your computer. Okay. Reboot it and come back on, because I'm not going to stop. Okay. Because this information is too important. And I really need you guys to go into the power of prayer for the bishop. Let's start with the gospel according to St. Matthew, chapter 10, verse 16. Are you ready to have your minds blown tonight? I said, are you ready to have your minds blown? All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let's start with the gospel according to St. Matthew. We're going to start in St. Matthew, chapter 10, verse 16. Hear ye the word of the Lord. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. I send you apostolically forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Now let's go forward to the gospel according to St. Luke. Man, there's an anointing here tonight. The gospel according to St. Luke, chapter number 13, verse 32. Can I take my time tonight? The gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 13, verse 32. Hear ye the word of the Lord. The greatest teacher in history, the Lord Jesus Christ, Yeshua the Christ, he said unto them, go ye and tell that fox, tell that fox. One more time. Go ye and tell that fox. The term go and ye, when you interconnect the words of go and ye together, though we're in the Greek New Testament, but the term go ye is actually a Persian term with go and ye together. Go ye in Persian means to eviscerate. Here is what Christ was teaching. Go ye or eviscerate that fox. Oh my. Go ye or eviscerate that fox. Behold, I cast out devils and I do cures today and tomorrow. And the third day I shall be perfected. Great to see all of you here tonight. Now, the key verse that I want everyone to concentrate on tonight will be the book of the Song of Solomon. Okay? Chapter 2, verse 15 will be the key verse this evening. Here is the wise man Solomon, which means solo man or singularity, one in God. Take us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil the vines. The term spoil means to contaminate. Take us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil or contaminate the vines, the work of the Lord. For our vines or the work of the Lord have tender grapes. Circle the term foxes in Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 15. Now, let's go back to the key verse, the body of the text, the gospel according to St. Matthew, chapter 10, verse 16. And then the gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 13, verse 32. Let's lay apostolic foundation. It is important for you to have 3 items. Number 1, have the greatest weapon in history. Everything that the bishop teaches is always based on the gospel that Christ taught. If you don't have the physical King James interpretation, you need to get the electronic version. So if the moderators can please put up the King James version link. Thank you, Pastor Colleen. And I'll save the shout outs for later on. If you don't have the physical King James version, it is imperative that you have the electronic version, because if you don't follow along, you'll be blocked. That's number 1. Number 2, make sure you have 2 to 3 pens. And number 3, make sure you have a large notebook. The topic that God has given me is the conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. the conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. Let's lay apostolic, spiritual, and political foundation. In order to destroy the wolf, you have to first neutralize the fox. Again, ladies and gentlemen, in order to destroy the wolf, you must first neutralize the fox. What is the distinction first between a fox and a jackal? A fox has mastered the art of media deception. For the term media is rooted in the Hebrew term medium, which means a witch. Whether it is the Crack News Network with Don Sweet Tea Lemon, MSNBC with Rachel Mad Cow Maddow, and Joy Crisco Oil Reed, these demons are witches. So the fox carries a medium psychology. For the term media is the acronym for the term medium, which means a witch. A witch is a female warlock, and a warlock is a male witch. Please allow me to lay this foundation. Thank you, Apostle McNeil. A witch is a female warlock. A warlock is a male witch. Lucifer is a warlock. Lilith is a witch. Or Lilith is a witch, a female warlock. The Luciferic side of Lilith is a warlock that's a male witch. So a fox contaminates the vine or the ground of God's work. Always remember, students, that when you examine the term fox, it comes from a rabbinical Hebrew term, shu'ah, S-H-U apostrophe A-L. It means to create something that doesn't exist. Listen, Alvin, the chipmunk Bragg. It means to create something that does not exist. It means to dig into a ground where no crime has been committed. That's the fox, the shu'ah. It means to contaminate the psychology of Americans in order to make up a crime that President Trump did not commit. That's a fox. Shua. A fox is one that has the art of deception. Deception has been designed by deceivers in order to deceive deceivers. They have to create the deception that will deceive the deceivers to manipulate the manipulators who have been manipulated by manipulation. Allow me to say that again. A fox is a deceiver, one who creates deception as a deceiver in order to create deception that deceives deception. That's a fox. A jackal is an entirely different demon. The term jackal comes from the Persian term kuat, Ku apostrophe A-I-T with the I silent. Kuat is a Persian term for jackal, which means to multiply the deception as manipulation. So the fox creates and contaminates the ground with deception, whereas the jackal brings manipulation layered on top of that deception. And so both the fox and the jackal prepare the ground for the paradigm of the wolf. The wolf then destroys what both the fox has deceived and what the jackal has manipulated because of mediums. The Crack News Network is a network of witches. MSNBC is a network of witches. The British Broadcasting Corporation, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation are networks of witches and warlocks. Remember, a female witch is also a female warlock, and a male warlock is also a female witch. A witch is a female warlock. A male warlock is a female witch. To destroy both the wolf and the jackal, and including the wolf, to destroy the wolf, you have to neutralize the fox in order to expose the jackal to destroy the wolf. Pastor Tira, this is the reason why the devil doesn't want this to be exposed. To destroy the wolf, to destroy George Soros, who is behind this mess, you have to neutralize Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg. And you have to expose the jackals of the New York political system in order to destroy the wolf that's controlling Chipmunk Bragg controlling the crack news network, controlling NBC, CNBC, MSNBC, and to a certain extent, Fox. That is the Open Society Foundations with George Soros. You have to remember, students, this is a spiritual war. It is not a political or a societal war. You're not fighting against flesh and blood. You're not fighting against Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg, but you're battling against the demons that's driving him. You're not battling against the Manhattan Criminal Court. That is the jackal. You're fighting against the demonic powers that are driving both Bragg in the Manhattan legal and political system. And you're not just fighting. You're not fighting against George Soros, but you're battling against the demons that are driving him. The conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. Let's continue to lay foundation. So a fox designs deception. The jackal then perfects that deception in order to prepare the way through both the fox and the jackal to prepare the way for the wolf to destroy the work of the Lord. To destroy one, the wolf, you have to neutralize the fox that will expose the jackal that will ultimately destroy the wolf. The conspiracy to destroy Donald J. Trump. Again, I'm going to repeat this. If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always got. Black America, you have to stop being manipulated by the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party was not designed for Black America, and neither was the Republican Party. The United States for America was never designed to be a democracy. Let me say this again. The United States for America was never designed by the framers to be a democracy. The term democ is the acronym for democracy. It is a Greek term meaning a demon for the people, of the people, and by the people. Neither was the United States designed, and I'm going to blow your minds with this, to be a republic. I thought so, Pastor Colleen, but the Lord said that the origins of the term republic comes out of the Roman Empire. So the term republic upon which we stand, we're not standing upon the republic paradigm of Rome, but we as the Apostolic Church must stand upon the foundation that's Christ. So the term republic comes from the Greek word republia, which means the demon god of the state. So the United States for America was not originally designed to be a democracy. Neither was the United States of America designed to be a Roman Empire republic. But the United States for America was designed by Christ through the framers to be a theocracy, where Christ is ruling the government. Christ is the capital, not the District of Columbia, a lesbian demonist god in Greek mythology. Christ is the capital. Christ is the president. Christ is the Supreme Court. Christ is the chief senator. Christ is the chief congressman. Christ is the Declaration of Independence. Christ is the Bill of Rights. And Christ is the Apostolic Constitution. If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always got. In other words, what you and I are eyewitnessing is a third world tactic through the paradigm of a banana republic, because the deep state knows that President Trump is running again for the, and matter of fact, allow me to say this. I think Pastor Sam sent me a video, correct me if I'm wrong, Pastor Sam, on Twitter, in my Twitter inbox, where this woman was saying, this woman was watching, I believe, MSNBC or CNN, one of the other networks, and the network personnel was saying, okay, that President Trump is not just the former president, he's the current president. President Donald J. Trump is a sovereign, Christ-centered man. Let me say this again. President Donald J. Trump is a sovereign, Christ-centered man. That's why they want to destroy him. So, to destroy the wolf, George Soros, you have to first neutralize the fox. That's your district attorney, Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg, in order to expose the jackal, the Tammany Hall political system here in New York City. Allow me to get a drink of soda water. Listen. Is your minds blown tonight? Put up those faces if your minds are blown. The conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. A foundation is built according to the environment of your terrain. A foundation is built according to the environment of your terrain. How many of you have heard of the term Cointelpro? You guys need to alert your family members. You need to alert your professors, your pastors. You need to alert those of your friends on social media, because they need to be in this class. The term Cointelpro, counterintelligence program through the FBI, was initially designed in 1956, that supposedly ended in 1971, in order to disrupt and to destroy activities and organizations of the Communist Party of the United States. I have no problem with that. The program, Cointelpro, was exposed on March 8th, 1971, through the Citizens Commission in investigating the FBI, where patriots broke into an FBI office in Media, Pennsylvania, took several dossiers and exposed it to the national media. Cointelpro today has targeted Christ-centered patriots like myself, like President Trump, like Candace Owens and Larry Elder. So what you're eyewitnessing in the indictment of our president is the revived Cointelpro. Christ-centered conservative organizations are entered. Conservative organizations are being destroyed by the FBI, by the Justice Department, because the FBI, the Justice Department, has been weaponized against us, against Christ-centered conservative organizations and revolutions and apostolic revolutionaries like myself. And it has been weaponized, get this, against the Trump organization. And actually, this past Monday's indictment, you better write this down. President Donald J. Trump was indicted by the Manhattan DA, Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg. A leftist propagandist Center for American Progress supports Bragg. The Open Society Institute, that now is called the Open Society Foundations, that was founded and created by a communist, a Marxist, a Leninist, a demon by the name of George Schwab Soros. The Roman statesman and scholar by the name of Cicero once said that a nation can survive its fools and even the ambitious, but it cannot survive treason from within. For the traitor appears not to be a traitor. He or she rots the soul of a nation. He or she infects the body politic so that it can no longer resist the powers that be. The Open Society Foundation, through the Soros Fund Management, has given $32 billion. Write that down. Has given $32 billion for the past 30 years to PACs, political action groups, and super PACs, or political action groups, in connection to Democracy Now! And Democracy Second, which is a super PAC. In 2022, George Soros gave $128 million alone during the midterms. George Soros is the 33rd and 1.5 degree Scottish Rite Mason. George Soros, at the age of 15 and later 16, was a Nazi collaborator. I'll come back to that later. Always remember this wisdom. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. President Donald J. Trump is playing chess Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg is playing checkers. President Donald J. Trump is playing these fools while Alvin Bragg is being used. Be responsible for telling the truth by not managing people's reactions to it. Let's examine Bloodlines. In order to understand what happened this past Monday at the Manhattan District Court, Criminal Court here in New York City, you have to first understand the bloodlines that have the psychological thinking of a generation, and that psychological thinking bloodline becomes plasma or liquid. A man by the name of Jacob Schwab connected in his generations to a man by the name of Johann Jacob Schwab, then connected to Johann Bartoszar Schwab, born in Wertheim, Baden, Germany. Jacob Michael Schwab then gave birth to Joseph Schwartz. So the family name was changed from Schwab to Schwartz in 1808. Joseph Schwartz, born in Hungary in 1808. Gave birth to Menard Schwartz, gave birth to Moritz Schwartz in Hungary, and part of the family immigrated to Romania. Theodore Schwartz, born in 1894 in Budapest, Hungary, died in 1968, was an attorney and a collaborator with the Third Reich. Theodore Schwartz. He married a woman by the name of Elizabeth or Elizabeth Schucz, Szucz, which means Schwartz. Wait a minute, Theodore Schwartz, born in 1894 in Budapest, Hungary, died in 1968 in New York, was a Nazi, a collaborator, an attorney during the Second World War, had married a blood relative who was also a Schwartz, called Elizabeth of Erzsebet, Erzsebet, Schucz, Szucz, or Schwartz. On the bloodline side of the wife of Theodore Schwartz, Elizabeth Schucz or Schwartz, this woman was born, her father was Hermann Ziv Schwartz, Z-V-I Schwartz. And in the bloodline of the wife of Theodore Schwartz, an attorney who died in New York in 1968, but was a Nazi collaborator, an attorney during World War II, his wife, Elizabeth Schwartz, they all marry into the same bloodline, incest, is related to Meinhard Menechem Menderschwartz, Menyhert, Menechem Menderschwartz, then Moritz, M-O-R, Schwartz, and then Dr. Tivadar, Tivadar Schwartz, who was also an attorney in Hungary, also a Nazi collaborator. And the Schucks, S-Z-U-C-S, Schwartz family intermarried into each other in order to keep the political power in the bloodlines. Elizabeth Schucks, or Schwartz, gave birth to 2 children. Paul Schwab Schwartz, and his younger brother, Guy Orgy Schwab Sorts. Wait a minute now. The youngest child of Theodore Schwartz, an attorney, a Nazi collaborator during World War II, his wife, Elizabeth Schucks, or Swartz, she gave birth to Paul Schwab Schwartz and the youngest son by the name of Guy G.Y. Orgy, O-R-G-Y, Schwab Swartz, who became George Soros. Do you see why the enemy did not want me to teach this? George Soros is actually a Rothschild, a Bacharach, a Bauer. George Soros is actually a Bacharach, a Bauer, a Rothschild, a Schwab, a Schwartz, Soros. Born August 12th, 1930 in Budapest, Hungary. It gets deeper. People say, well, why won't you just get to the indictment? See, you won't understand the indictment unless you first lay the background of these devils in order for you to understand the foreground, what happened this past Monday here in Manhattan. The conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. The Soros bloodline, who are Bacharachs, Bowers, Rothschilds, Schwabs, Schwartz, who call themselves Soros, 30% of the bloodline of Guy Orgy or George Schwab Schwartz Soros, 30% of the Soros bloodline is connected to the Colombo bloodline out of Genoa, Italy. I thank God for my staff. Genoa, capital Genoa, Italy. Pastor Sam knows where I'm going with this. The Colombo bloodline, also called the Crystal bloodline, Christoul. They were Italian Khazarians. The Soros bloodline, 30% of the Rothschilds, listen, going back to the Bacharachs, the Bowers, the Rothschilds, the Schwabs, the Schwartz, the Soroses, 30% of that entire historical bloodline is related to the Colombo bloodline, who are Sephardic Khazarians out of Italy and also out of Spain. Out of Genoa, Spain. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Out of Genoa, Spain. And there's also a Genoa, Italy. But most of the bloodline out of Genoa, Spain, Genoa, related to a slave owner by the name of Fario Colombo Castile, Febrario, out of Genoa, Spain. Colombo Castile, 1409, and not just in Genoa, Italy, but also out of Genoa, Spain. Gave birth to, through his wife, Emerito Colombo, Emerito, which produced the generation of Lanza Colombo, 30% of the Soroses, who are not just Ashkenazi, but Sephardic Khazarians, and I'm not talking about Jewish people. I'm talking about one family of the Rothschilds. Genoa, Italy, and also out of Genoa, Spain. Lanza Colombo produced Giovanni Colombo out of Liguria, Italy. Liguria, Liguria, Italy, produced the generation of Domenico Lucas Colombo, Domenico Lucas Colombo. This 30% of the Rothschilds, 30% of the Schwabs, the Schwartz, and the Soroses. Domenico Lucas Colombo married into the Medici dynasty, Medeci, a woman by the name of Messia, Mecia da Costa, Costa. Their children would be splintered into multiple families: Rothschilds, Bowers, Bacharachs, Sassoons, Schwabs, Schwartz, who are called the Soroses today. Bartolomeo, Bartolomeo Colombo, immigrated into the Schwab bloodline. Biancetta, Bianchine, I love teaching. Bavarello, Bavarello, assimilated into the Schwartz bloodline. Giacomo Colombo, Giacomo Colombo, assimilated also into the Schwartz bloodline. Giovanni Colombo, who immigrated to Hamburg, Germany in the 1500s, immigrated into the Weishaupt family that would produce Adam Weishaupt, who created the Illuminati in Bavaria, Germany in 1776. Would produce Giovanni Antonio Colombo, who would assimilate into the Schwab bloodline, which would produce a young man. I got to wipe some of the anointing off for this. Who would then produce a young man by the name of Cristoforo Colombo, who changed his name to Christopher Columbus. I really need your prayers tonight. Christopher Columbus would produce, listen, somebody named George Soros. You see, the media is not going to tell you this. Wait a minute now. Bacharachs, Bowers, Rothschilds, Schwabs, Schwartz, Soros, Columbos, both out of Italy and Spain, that would produce Cristoforo Colombo, who changed his name to Christopher Columbus, who became the viceroy and governor of the East and West Indies during the 1400s, who died of syphilis. One of the writings of Christopher Colombo or Columbus, he said in a document, 100 Castellanos, Castellanos. What is a Castellano? A Castellano, students, is an ancient Spanish gold coin, which is the currency of the Spanish Inquisition and the Spanish Federal Reserve System during the time of Queen Isabella. This is what Columbus said: 100 Castellanos are as easily obtained for a woman as for a farm, and it is very general, and there are plenty of dealers who go about looking for boys, girls, those who are 9 to 10 years old are now in demand. I'm praying that when President Trump gets inaugurated, he will sign an executive order for every Christopher Columbus statue to be destroyed, and that the holiday Christopher Columbus Day would be abolished. The conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. During the 1493 expedition, where Columbus never set foot on American soil, Columbus got to the Caribbean before it even reached Haiti. Christopher Columbus rewarded his lieutenants with women, boys, and girls, and children as young as 3 years old. Christopher Columbus would take children and shish kebab them, taking a black beam through their backside that came through the child's mouth, and would roast the child, put them on a laver to cook them over a fire. Babies as young, not just 3 years old, 3 months. Who did that? A blood progenitor that would produce this demon, George Soros. They're all related by blood. I'm not talking about Jewish people. I'm talking about one family, the Rothschilds. Columbus was financed by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain. Children were raped. They were impaled, shish kebabbed. And many children, their stomachs were cut open, and they would put a little skull of a fox, a skull of a jackal, a skull of a wolf inside of the child's stomach and roast it. This is the bloodline of George Soros. Children were hacked to death. Body parts were sold as chess pieces. Soldiers of Christopher Columbus would make boys, rape boys and girls, and would make his lieutenants bet on who would cut open and cut away the body parts of children quicker than the next soldier. The necks of children were slit. A child's, body was hacked into pieces and given to the dogs of Christopher Columbus to consume. Women who were carrying children, their stomachs were ripped open and they were cut out, the children out of the mother's stomach. According to the Spanish historian and priest Bartolome de las Casas, Bartolome, Bartolome, de Las, Las, Casas, Casas, who had eyewitnessed the carnage throughout the Caribbean. Children were killed for food, not just for dogs, but for the lieutenants of the military industrial complex of Christopher Columbus. One of the soldiers, the lieutenants of Christopher Columbus, a man by the name of Miguel Cuneo, Cuneo, Meccan, Mechan, who would be a blood progenitor, who then centuries would produce the judge who's overseeing the Trump indictment. I'll come back to that. Miguel Cuneo, Meccan, wrote that 1,600 male and female children embarked on February 17th, 1495, back to Spain from Haiti. These children were cut open, or shish kebab, the black bean going through their backside, through their mouth, and they would be put on the ships overseen by Christopher Columbus going back to Spain, and these kids were eaten to death during the voyage. According to Professor Dr. James Loewen, Loewen, from the University of Vermont, he said that the 1493 expedition led by Christopher Columbus had raped Haiti and the Bahamas and Cuba and Jamaica, and took little boys and girls as sex slaves. There is a book called None Dare Call It Conspiracy by Gary Allen and Larry Abraham. On page 45 of None Dare Call It Conspiracy, Gary Allen and Larry Abraham, great American patriots, said that the pedophilia sale of children during the time of the 1493 to 1500 expedition of one Christopher Columbus would also bring back thousands of children to be sold by King Ferdinand and to be sold by Queen Isabella to families of financial nobility throughout Spain. Also, according to Dr. James Loewen, Loewen, from the University of Vermont, he said that Christopher Columbus wrote a document in 1500 that boys and girls from ages to 9 and 10 were in great demand. 8 million indigenous people called the Taínos, Taino apostrophe S, Taínos. They were and still are an indigenous people throughout the Caribbean islands, including the Arawak Indians. That within 3 years, the entire population of the Taino bloodline was only 100,000. from 5 million down to 100,000 because of Christopher Columbus. Soros had raped and murdered these children. Christopher Columbus, thank God, died in 1506 at the age of 54 years old of syphilis, and he spread that disease all throughout Western Europe. Upon the return from the New World to Spain in 1506. Monsters, serial rapists, pedophiles, Christopher Columbus. So the Colombo bloodline, the Schwab, the Schwartz, the Soroses, 30% of the Soros, Schwartz, Schwab, Colombo, Baccarat, Bauer, Rothschild bloodline comes up out of Spain through the Colombo dynasty. 105 slaves, turncoats. Now, write this down. I'm still laying foundation concerning the conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. There was a Confederate general by the name of General Braxton Bragg from Warrenton, North Carolina. That may be near you, Pastor Sam and Pastor Jody. I don't know. Warrenton, North Carolina. Thomas Bragg was educated at West Point, who was also a slave owner. 105 slaves were sold to the Bragg family from the Schwartz family out of Hungary in 1830. The Bragg slaves were then renamed from Schwartz to Braggs when the Schwartz family out of Hungary, who immigrated to New York, had sold the slaves to Thomas Bragg Sr. in 1830, who then changed their name from Schwartz to Bragg. That bloodline of the slaves called the Braggs, then now out of Warrenton, North Carolina in 1830, immigrated to South Hill, Virginia after the Emancipation Proclamation. 1 hour, 44 minutes away. Look at that, Pastor Sam. Warrenton, North Carolina. After the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, and 2 years later, the ratification of the 13th Amendment, which in reality, the 13th Amendment was never ratified because Uncle Joe, Lunchbox Joe State of Delaware, and then Pennsylvania never ratified the 13th Amendment, which means Black America is technically on the plantation. The conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. So after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, and 2 years later, the so-called ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865, the free Bragg slaves from under their slave master, the Bragg family, Thomas Bragg Sr., and General Braxton Bragg, they immigrated, the slaves did, the former slaves, to South Hill, Virginia, and generationally would produce a man by the name of Alvin Bragg Sr. Can I take my time? Alvin Bragg Sr. had married a woman by the name of Sadie Bragg. And then the Bragg family would immigrate to New York City during the 1940s. and would give birth to a son by the name of Marvin Alvin Bragg. And later, Marvin Alvin Bragg married a woman by the name of Horatia Bragg, Horatia Bragg, who would produce a son by the name of Alvin Bragg. There's a document called Birthing a Slave, Motherhood and Medicine in the Antebellum South. It says that the Bragg bloodline then immigrated to New York City in the 40s. But they were related because of incest on the plantation previously owned by the Schwartz family, who immigrated out of Hungary. Now that Schwartz family is called the Soros. Wait. So when my staff told me this, Pastor Sam, on yesterday, I fell off of my seat. I said, you are telling me that George Soros is related to the district attorney of Manhattan County, New York, Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg doesn't know this, but George Soros knows this. What are you saying? This is a Luciferic setup because of bloodlines. Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg, his slave master, George Soros, Bragg is still owned by the Schwartz family called the Soroses. This information has already been sent to Marvin Bragg. There's no fear in me. This information has been sent to the office of George Soros here in New York City through the Soros Fund Management in the Open Society Foundations. And this information was sent to President Donald J. Trump at Mar-a-Lago. The conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. Say there in Matthew 10:16, is your minds blown tonight? Is your minds blown? Put up those faces if your minds are blown tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, no one is teaching this. Great to see you, Disciple Dean, all the way from Toronto. Another document called Slavery and the Jews by Dr. Saul S. Friedman. Dr. Friedman said that the Bragg family, owned by General Braxton Bragg, a Confederate soldier and a general, sold the slaves. 105 slaves were sold from the Schwartz family to the Bragg family in 1830. This is from a Jewish scholar. Don't call me an anti-Semite. 90% of what I teach you is from beautiful Jewish scholars. Dr. Saul Friedman also said in the document, Slavery and the Jews, that a man by the name of Aaron Lopez in 1847 was the overseer over the Bragg slaves, working for General Braxton Bragg. The Mordecai's of Warrenton, North Carolina, arrived in 1792 as slave owners. This is according to a Jewish website, not from the Nation of Islam, not from any Black consciousness movement. This is from a Jewish website called JewishNC.org. NC means North Carolina. JewishNC.org. Type in the Mordecai's of Warrenton, North Carolina, arrived in 1792 as slave owners. This came from a Jewish website, jewishnc.org, that in 1830, 83% of Khazars or Khazarians owned slaves in the state of North Carolina. I'm not talking about Jewish people. I'm talking Rothschild bloodlines that would produce the Bacharachs, the Bowers, the Rothschilds, the Schwabs, the Shorts, the Soroses. Mordecai's of Warrenton, North Carolina, arrived in 1792 as slave owners, according to the beautiful Jewish website, jewishnc.org. In 1830, 83% of Khazarians owned slaves in the state of North Carolina. Many of them, including the Lehman Brothers, who supported not just the plantation system, the Lehman Brothers, but they controlled the cotton system, the cotton trade in the South. Lehman Brothers, before they immigrated to Wall Street to produce the Lehman Brothers financial empire that collapsed during the 2008 housing crisis. The New York financiers who underwrote the cotton economy through Lehman Brothers supported the plantation system, where they viewed slaves, get this, as collateral. Alvin Bragg is being used. Alvin Bragg is in way over his head. And Alvin Bragg, you're going to fall. Let's continue to lay foundation before we get to Matthew 10:16. I want all the patriots right now, reach out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Let them know that the bishop is teaching a mind-blowing topic, the conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. Slaves were used as collateral in the origin of Black Friday, where slaves, listen, the day after Thanksgiving, would put up collateral, their slaves, to be auctioned at a 50% discount. Black Friday is from the plantation system, not just in North Carolina, but throughout the South, Miss April, where the slave can be auctioned at a 50% discount. Nothing has changed. Now you got not just black folk, Americans going crazy over not just a Cabbage Patch doll, they don't sell those anymore, going crazy over a video game, going and trampling over each other at a Walmart. That spirit is from the plantation. Also, according to jewishnc.org, that the plantation system was a Khazarian heritage holiday and thanking God for the plantation. Did North Carolina Jews own slaves? This is on the jewishnc.org. Did North Carolina Jews own slaves? Question mark. Rabbi Morris Raphall, Raphall, said in a sermon that Judaism sanctioned slavery. YouTube, don't take us down. I'm just quoting from the powerful Jewish website, jewishnc.org. And I challenge anyone from the jewishnc.org to contradict me, to come against me, because it's on their website. And we copied it, Pastor Bowles, just in case they would take it down tonight. Did North Carolina Jews or Khazarians own slaves? Rabbi Morris Raphael, look it up, Raphall, said in a sermon that Judaism sanctioned slavery. That's a lie. Judaism does not sanction slavery. See, Judaism is a holy and a righteous and a powerful doctrinal teaching. It does not sanction slavery. Let's look now at the timeline. We spent the first 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 15 seconds on the foundation of the bloodlines. Baccarat, Bauer, Rothschilds, Schwabs, Schwartz, Sorosers, 30% from the Colombo crime family, both out of Italy and Spain, to Christopher Columbus. Let's look at the timeline. Spygate. Before the inauguration, the FBI, the Department of Justice, the CIA, and the National Security Agency weaponize their spy systems to spy on Donald Trump at Trump Tower. Who's responsible for this? Barack Insane Obama. Concocted lies along with Joe Biden by taking lies to the FISA court, and the FISA court, based on lies from Barack Obama and Sleepy Joe, gave legal permission to the FBI, to the CIA, to the NSA, with the legal backing of the Department of Justice, to spy on Donald Trump. Why? Oh, we were concerned that Donald Trump was exposed to Russian intelligence. That was nothing but lies and crap. January 23rd, 2017, after Trump's inauguration, the Mexico City policy ban on aid to international groups performing or counseling on abortion. So we thank God that President Trump banned that aid that would have given groups the financial backing to counsel young women in order to abort their children. President Trump stopped that. Later in 2017, President Trump, through the wisdom of Christ through him, withdrew from the Trans-Pacific Partnership. January 27, 2017, President Trump wisely put a travel ban, an executive order, do you remember that, on Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen, which are the axis of evil concerning global terrorism. January 31st, 2017, one of the greatest legal minds in American jurisprudence, Neil Gorsuch, was chosen by President Trump to be the next Supreme Court Justice. February the 13th, 2017, Michael Flynn, former National Security Advisor, resigns because he had lied to President Trump concerning speaking to the Russian ambassador before Trump's inauguration. And this is also including coming up to March the 6th, 2017. March the 28th, 2017, I love teaching. Trump put a reversal on the Environmental Protection Agency's rollback the Obama administration's temporary ban on mining coal. In other words, Obama Joe Biden and the Clintons, they wanted to destroy coal mining jobs throughout America, beginning with the state of West Virginia. President Trump put a stop to that. April 7, 2017, President Trump signed an executive order against military action against the corrupt Syrian government. April 10, 2017, the Honorable Neil M. Gorsuch is confirmed by the Senate to be a member of the Supreme Court of the United States of America. May the 9th, 2017, the corrupt FBI Director James E. Comey was fired, and rightfully so, because James Comey was taping President Trump in President Trump's Oval Office and leaking those audio memos to the media. So don't feel sorry for James Comey, who also sold American trade secrets to China. May 17, 2017 begins the Mueller report. June 1st, 2017, President Trump, through his wisdom, withdrew America from the Paris Climate Accord. Okay, because climate change is nothing but a scam. I said it. Climate change is nothing but a scam. It's a Chinese scam, okay? Where was Greta Thunberg when those trains derailed outside of East Palestine? Where was Greta Thunberg, who needs to be in the kitchen cooking? Okay, needs to be in the kitchen learning to cook cookies instead of out here being used by her handlers. So thereby the fake Paris Climate Accord change was abolished. Thank God. Between 2017 and 2019, all these leaks coming out of the White House. September 19, 2017, President Trump addresses the 72nd session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York City, where he says that God is first, then America, okay, then the rest of the world. The deep state didn't like that. God first, America second, then the rest of the world. President Trump said something that no previous U.S. president said, Pastor Colleen. I am going to destroy North Korea. Listen. As we jump to January 23rd, 2018, a trade war with China begins. President Trump puts tariffs upon the Chinese economy. No more would China be bloodsucking us financially because of unfair trading practices. February the 13th, 2018, this snake, this traitor, Michael Cohen, a former attorney for Donald Trump, said that he paid, not President Trump, Michael Cohen paid, not with President Trump's banking account, not one dime from the Trump organization, Pastor Colleen. Not one check came from Donald Trump to pay this stinking whore named Stormy Daniels. Michael Cohen suggested that Trump should pay this witch. And guess what? She has to pay back at least $120,000 of that to Michael Cohen. And since this is the case, Pastor, I'm a big girl, why did Trump get indicted? I'll come back to that. February 16th, 2018, with indictments issued for Russian election interference. July 2018, I'll come back to Michael Cohen and the so-called $130,000 payoff to Stormy Daniels. July 2018, the deep state tries to destroy Brett Kavanaugh, do you remember that case? Christine Blasey Ford, a professor of clinical psychology at the world-renowned Stanford University, whose brother, Ralph Blasey III, was an attorney for the law firm of Baker and Hostetler. And that law firm, Baker and Hostetler, at the time in 2018, was in the same building as Fusion GPS, created by Glenn R. Simpson, whose family is connected to American intelligence. Glenn R. Simpson, through Fusion GPS, was hired by Hillary Clinton and hired by Barack Obama and hired by John McCain to dig up dirt on President Trump. And funds that was issued from the Clintons and John McCain, those funds to hire Christopher Steele, a former MI6 agent, that money came from the Clintons, from Obama and John McCain, allocated through the law firm called Perkins Coie, C-O-I-E, out of Seattle, Washington. And it is the same Perkins Coie who represents these three witches of Black Lives Matter who bought homes in California with cash. Perkins Coie is also the lead attorneys representing the Obamas with Barack and Michael. Perkins Coie also being the legal representation for Glenn R. Simpson, Fusion GPS, and Ralph Blasey III, who was the attorney on the case for Fusion GPS, working also with Perkins Coie out of Seattle to dig up dirt on President Trump that was leaked not to NBC, not to the Crack News Network, not to Fox, but to BuzzFeed. Let me get a drink. Listen, to BuzzFeed. Listen. Brett Kavanaugh was lied on by this deranged professor of psychology, Christine Blasey Ford, whose father had worked for the Central Intelligence Agency. And her father's office was also in the same building of Fusion GPS in the Baker Hostetler law firm, where Ralph Blasey III, the brother of Christine Blasey Ford, was working. August 21st, 2018, Michael Cohen pleads guilty to federal charges. Paul Manafort is convicted on 8 charges, including tax evasion, bank fraud. President Trump has nothing to do with that. Here are the midterms. I'm coming to the indictment. Here are the midterms of 2018. The Democrats take over the House. December 12, 2018, Michael Cohen is sentenced to 3 years in prison for campaign finance violations of hush money being paid to this whore, Stormy Daniels. February 15, 2019, the border wall funding is in place. President Trump, with executive order, begins to build the wall. June 30th, 2019, President Trump, Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Now, Kim Jong-un is now bowing down to President Trump because Trump said, if you don't get an order, I'm going to destroy you. President Trump met at the DMZ zone, the first U.S. president ever to step foot in North Korea. July 25th, 2019, the call to Zelensky. President Trump was not trying to find dirt on Joe Biden or Hunter Biden. President Trump was talking to Zelensky about financial aid, and did Joe Biden, okay, put you in a legal corner in order for you, Zelensky, to fire Victor Shokin, so that Shokin, who was investigating Hunter, Shokin would be fired. Corruption. August 12th, 2019. Remember the whistleblower, Pastor Colleen? Alexander Vindman, Vindman, who worked both in the Obama administration and as a low-level personnel within the Trump administration, filed a complaint against President Trump, alleging that President Trump tried to get foreign interference in the upcoming 2020 election, which was a lie. And that Trump tried to even rig the upcoming 2020 election was not made public until August 12, 2019. Lies. August 29, 2019, President Trump creates the U.S. Space Command called Space Force, the military operations in space as part of defense. And in September 24th, 2019, okay, this takes shape. Now, you guys remember, I'm coming up to the indictment. Stay there in Matthew 10:16, the conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. How many of you have heard of Operation Warp Speed? How many of you have heard of Operation Warp Speed? Now, Operation Warp Speed, to my understanding, officially, was designed to, to rush the process for Americans to receive the V. That was the official Operation Warp Speed. But the unofficial plan, brilliant plan of President Donald J. Trump through Operation Warp Speed was a global liquidation program that would take out the heads of the 13 families. And the so-called Pope Francis is not alive. 2 summers ago, Pastor Colleen, there was a hologram of Pope Francis giving a speech over the Sistine Chapel. Then when he turns around, he disappears because the real Pope Francis was a casualty of war of President Trump's Operation Warp Speed, which means President Trump is an American gangster who's not playing. Stay there in Matthew 10:16. In January 3rd, 2020, drone strikes killed the Iranian pedophile General Qasem Soleimani. Remember that, Pastor Sam? Now, the only thing that was left of the body of General Qasem Soleimani was his index finger that had that ring, that maroon, reddish, dark brown color of a ring that many of your pedophiles wear. January 16, 2020, NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, was replaced by the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement. You see, the deep state did not want this. February the 2nd, 2020, President Trump, through executive order, puts travel limits for those coming from China into the United States because of the impending snake bite. Only foreign nationals could come into the United States. The Senate acquits President Trump. Another impeachment. February the 26th, 2020, the White House snake bite task force is created. The traitor, Mike Pence, oversees the management of the snake bite task force, by designating little midget Fauci. I got to be careful. Pastor Colleen, who is, and I had this brother, beautiful brother, a patriot, an Indian brother, a scientist, one of the greatest minds, and I can't, and to my beautiful Indian brother, please forgive me if I can't remember your name, please forgive me. I had him on my radio show some years ago, and he ran for the Senate, I believe, out of Connecticut or someplace on the East Coast. He has a powerful podcast, great page. Dr. Shiva, thank you. Love Dr. Shiva. Dr. Shiva, if I was President Trump, I would have hired Dr. Shiva to oversee the snake bite task force and not Dr. Little Midget Tony Fauci. Dr. Shiva is a patriot. Dr. Shiva is a true man of God. And Dr. Shiva is a man's man. I love you, Dr. Shiva. We got to get him back on our radio show soon. Love that man. This the timeline now. Stay there in Matthew 10:16. The traitor Mike Pence oversees the management of the snake bite team. By March 1st, 2020, 2 months after Kobe Bryant's death, 2 people die within the state of California. Dozens more die because of the snake bite in California, in Florida, Illinois, New York, Oregon, and Rhode Island. 2 months after the death of Kobe Bryant. The CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, why is it named the Centers for Disease Eradication? Because they're not interested in eradicating the problem, but only controlling it. I have to be careful, got to use wisdom. The CDC reported the first laboratory confirmed case of the 2019 snake bite in the United States from samples taken on January 18th, 2020. 8 days before the death of Kobe Bryant. January 18, 2020, in the state of Washington, and on the same day, it activates 8 days before Kobe's death, which is January 18, 2020, the same day activates its Emergency Operations Center to respond to the emerging outbreak of the snake bite because of the novel snake bite. January 20th, 2020, 6 days before the assassination of Kobe Bryant, was the first case of the snake bite in Snohomish County, Washington. Snohomish. Snohomish County, Washington, just north of Seattle. Listen, Perkins Coys, listen. May 11, 2020, the snake bite escalates. President Trump, through the wisdom of God, through our great president, put a 30-day travel ban on Europeans coming from Eastern, Central, and European countries. March 13, 2020, the national emergency, through an executive order, and a national emergency is declared. The nation is shut down. The world is shut down. March 27, 2020, President Trump signs a $2 trillion emergency spending bill that will financially assist American people, corporations, small businesses at the state and local level. April 16, 2020, 22 million people are unemployed. You see, they couldn't stop Trump. Spygate. You couldn't stop him, Russian hoax. You couldn't stop him, Okay, he spoke to Zelensky. Now, I got to be careful. Before the snake bite, President Donald J. Trump oversaw the greatest financial gain in American history. During the presidency of Donald J. Trump, before the snake bite, we experienced the greatest financial insurgency in history. Under President Trump, Black America had become rich financially, more so in the history of our country. During President Trump's presidency, before the snake bite came out, the unemployment rate was at its lowest in history, not just with African Americans and Latinos and Asians, but all across the board. But the deep state did not want that, and especially with Black folk. You see, when President Trump would go on the south side of Chicago, in Detroit, so these demons on the left did not want that. After April 16th and forward, here comes nation shutdown, world shutdown, George Floyd, Baltimore burned down, Minneapolis burned down, Portland, St. Louis, Seattle. Antifa, the military arm of Black Lives Matter being the propaganda arm of Antifa, led by three stinking witches, Alicia Garza, Opa Tometi, and Patrice Cullors. Alicia Garza's last name is Alicia Schwartz. George Schwartz Soros. July 7, 2020, President Trump signs an executive order for the United States to withdraw from the World Health Organization, and rightfully so, which took effect in 2021. July 2020, here comes the mail-in corrupt balloting system. Pastor saying, what is the name of that movie? And I can't remember the brother's name. Another great patriot. Rish, what's his name? An Indian brother. Great patriot. He did a movie, a documentary, and you guys can help me with his name. He's got black rim glasses. Great brother. I would love to meet him one day. And he created this powerful movie documentary, how the left stole Patel. Is that his name? Patel? What's his name? Patel? Great patriot. The mail-in ballot system. Thank you, Pastor James. D'Souza, great patriot. Dinesh, brother, love that. Got to get him on my radio show. Brother Dinesh created a powerful documentary how the deep state used the snake bite to usher in the mail-in ballot corrupted system of how thousands and millions of ballots disappeared. Mailwomen were just caught on video destroying ballots. September 26, 2020, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, I like her, becomes a Supreme Court Justice nominee. October 2nd, 2020, I'm coming into the indictment. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. First Lady Melania Trump, whose bloodline goes back to the Romanovs, is pound for pound the greatest first lady we have ever had. They test positive for the snake bite. October 26, 2020. And I'll tell you how Trump got the snake bite from the first debate. I got to be careful. 1,000 views. Thank you, Deplorable. October 26, 2020. Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed by the Senate to be the next Supreme Court justice. She's a great patriot. November 3rd, 2020, mail-in ballots. Millions are missing. We went to bed that night. I went to bed that night. My staff and I, okay, listen, we had a watch party here in New York. I was on 25 different radio shows and podcasts that whole week. Millions of ballots missing. November 7, 2020, the Associated Press calls the race for the clone Joe Biden. December 2nd, 2020, the U.S. Attorney General William Barr, whose father hired Jeffrey Epstein to teach at one of the most prestigious schools in New York City. Another topic for another day. His son, Attorney General, Deep Stater William Barr, said that the Justice Department, listen to this, the Justice Department found no widespread voter fraud. Notice the legal term that Barr uses. No widespread voter fraud. There was voter fraud, but according to William Barr, it was not. In other words, what he was saying, okay, the body has some cancer, but it wasn't, listen, but it's not spread throughout the body. William Barr is a demon. January 2nd, 2021, the Secretary of State, listen, okay, for the state of Georgia, lies to Congress and lies to the FBI, saying that Trump said he wanted the Secretary of State to find votes, not to go to create votes, but to find the votes that were thrown away. That's what President Trump was saying. January 6, 2021, the so-called Capitol siege. One of our great patriots, Tucker Carlson, had exposed that. January 20th, 2021, President Trump does not give a concession speech. Why? Because he won the presidency. January 1st, 2022, was the date that Alvin, the chipmunk Bragg, did not want to investigate President Donald J. Trump, because he said, after he was sworn in on January 1st, 2022, that initially there was no evidence against President Donald J. Trump. But why now? Now, as a side point, President Donald J. Trump was indicted this past Monday by the district attorney for New York County, covering Manhattan, DA Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg, who previously worked as Chief Deputy Attorney General of New York, and before that was the Assistant U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, who became the district attorney on January 1, 2022, with the $1 million from George Soros through the super PAC called The Color of Change, which was co-founded by Van Jones. Judge Juan Manuel Merkin oversaw the criminal tax fraud case against the Trump Corporation, but found no evidence. The judge that's overseeing the indictment now is in the pockets of not just George Soros, but is a major financial donor to Joe Biden. How convenient. Michael D. Cohen paid and suggested to President Trump that Michael Cohen, pay Stormy Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, $130,000 in 2017 out of not President Trump's pocket, not from the Trump organization, but from Michael D. Cohen. Michael D. Cohen said in a statement to the New York Times, the pay to Miss Stephanie Clifford, aka Stormy Daniels, was lawful. This came from Michael Cohen, was lawful and was not a campaign contribution or a campaign expenditure by anyone. That came from Cohen's mouth. Cohen suggested that he paid Stormy Daniels $2,000 in 2017. Trump did not pay her. No one from the Trump campaign paid her. No one from the Trump organization paid her. Michael Cohen, who played himself, paid her. Of course, Spygate, Christopher Steele, 2 impeachments. According to the Washington Post, writer Glenn Kessler, the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg, is in the pockets of George Soros, I'll talk about that later on, who handpicked Alvin Bragg by giving him $1 million through the super African-American PAC, The Color of Change, that was co-founded by Van Jones, who's a commentator on the Crack News Network. George Soros also supports Judge Juan Manuel Merkin, who is overseeing the indictment. How convenient. 2016, before Trump's inauguration, the Obama administration was pressuring Ukraine to drop the probe against George Soros. That's why Putin went to war in Ukraine to destroy not just the deep state and the money of the 13 families, but also to destroy George Soros, because George Soros's 30% of his billions is tied up in Ukrainian banks. Let's get back to the timeline. January 1st, 2022, Alvin Bragg. Now, in 2021, Alvin Bragg says, I'm going to get Trump and I'm going to get his family. Okay. In 2022, there is no evidence against President Donald J. Trump. So members of the Manhattan, prosecutor's office begin to resign because they were asking Bragg, why are you dropping the case against President Trump? Because Bragg said there's no case against President Trump. 2022. And many prosecutors resigned in early 2022 because Bragg initially did not want to prosecute President Trump nor the Trump organization because there was no evidence of a crime. George Soros, you got to write this down. Listen. I'm talking about the difference between a fox, a jackal, and a wolf. Matthew 10:16. St. Luke 13:32 with the key verse in the book of Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 15. That's right, Pastor Sam. Touch not my anointed, do my prophets no harm. George Schwab Schwartz Soros funded $1 million to the Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg's campaign in 2021. Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg was promising to get President Trump. $1 million from the Soros Fund Management Group was funneled to the Black super PAC called The Color of Change. a Black political action group that was co-founded by Van Jones. They supported Alvin Bragg to be the first Black district attorney representing New York County via Manhattan, including an additional $20,000 from Jonathan Soros, one of the children of George Soros, and the wife of Jonathan Soros, Jennifer Soros. They donated an additional $20,000 in addition to the $1 million through the color of change. This is according to the New York State Board of Elections. George Soros controls district attorneys from around the world and is a major supporter of the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith, who tried to destroy Kanye West and Kyrie Irving. It gets deeper here now. In 1992, George Soros, along with his friend Joe Lewis, not the boxer, but the British billionaire Joe Lewis, who had owned the Tottenham Hotspur soccer team, Joe Lewis, who's on the run from MI5 to MI6, who lives in the Bahamas. Joe Lewis, who owns Fun, F-U-N 88. Do you remember the Kobe Bryant series? Kobe Bryant at Luciferian Project completed. I'm coming back to that in a few weeks. Kobe Bryant was hired and contracted by Joe Lewis, the British billionaire who owns Fun 88. What is Fun 88? Fun 88 is the largest online banking gaming system throughout Southeast Asia that's now controlled by the Chinese mafia called the Triads. If you look on Google Images, you will see Kobe Bryant right beside a woman. I believe the woman in Kobe Bryant is holding up a jersey that says Fun 88. This is what got Kobe killed. Kobe had no idea who he was messing with. So Joe Lewis, who had created the Tavistock Group, not the same as the Tavistock Institute for Human Relations that was created 2 years after World War II in London with Rockefeller Foundation money. That's the Tavistock Institute for Human Relations. The Tavistock Group out of the Bahamas was created and owned by Joe Lewis, the British billionaire. Then Joe Lewis and George Soros in 1992 tried to destroy the Bank of England by devaluing the British pound. Why isn't George Soros in prison? The Rockefeller Foundation that had created the Tavistock Institute in 1947, September 20, 1947, and the Biden family supports not just the Rockefeller Foundation and the Trilateral Commission, in the Club of Rome, the Committee of 300, the Hidden Hand, and the Council on Foreign Relations. But the Biden family also has assets in both the Tavistock Group in the Bahamas and the Tavistock Institute of England, who want to create beta blockers for children so that young boys become women and women become men. And it was Fun 88 who Kobe Bryant was the face, but he didn't know that the Chinese mafia, the Triads, control Fun 88. According to the website Open Secrets, 2,415 groups represent super PACs in the United States. Think about this, 2,415 super PACs. Now, what's a super PAC? A political action group. What is a political action group? A political action group is the conduit for dark money coming from billionaires and wash through these political action groups in order to elect local, county, state, and federal officials. 2,415 super PAC groups in the United States last year in 2022, which has the combination of $2.5 billion. 70% of that is controlled by George Soros. The Political Action Group Campaign Finance Reform in the United States is the SEC, the Security Exchange Commissions, overseeing the political contributions through dark money. So then in 1943, the first PAC, the Political Action Group, was the CIO PAC. In July of 1943, created by Sidney Hillman and Philip Murray, Rothschild agents. Now, in 2021, you got to write this down. Oh, Lord have mercy. You see, this is the reason why the devil doesn't want me to expose this. The conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. In 2021, the Color of Change Political Action Group was founded by Van Jones and James Rucker going back to 2005. Van Jones and James Rucker created the Color of Change Political Action Group in 2005 in response to Hurricane Katrina in 2005. 2021, the Color of Change Super PAC Group received $1 million from George Soros. But something happened later in 2021. Half of the $1 million that was sent to Van Jones and sent to James Rucker to the Color of Change to support Alvin Bragg, half of that money George Soros wanted back. And the question is why? Why did George Soros want half of that money back? In 2021, an unidentified woman, a former executive of the Color of Change, had filed a complaint with the New York Police Department against Alvin Bragg. Now, follow me. I know what her name is, and I know who she is. I was told, Pastor Sam, by people high up, don't ever reveal her name, Bishop, because your life would be on the line. So I'm not stupid. A woman, an African American woman, filed a complaint with the New York Police Department of exposing Alvin Bragg for sexual assault. She sent the text to Van Jones and sent the text to James Rucker in 2021. Then all of a sudden, she disappeared. Why? She was paid off. Now, here comes Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg, wants to destroy President Trump because of Stormy Daniels, but a high executive, former executive of the Color of Change, says that she was sexually assaulted by Alvin Bragg going back to 2020 But this hypocrite Bragg wants to destroy Trump. I know who she is. Do you understand how powerful this is? Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg, according to this high-level executive, a former African-American executive of the Color Exchange Political Action Group, had filed a complaint with the NYPD stating that Alvin Bragg sexually assaulted her in 2020. All of a sudden, she disappears. Alvin Bragg is one of 75 district attorneys in the United States that Soros has in his pockets, making America a third world, communist, socialist, fascist, making America a third world, communist, socialist, fascist, banana republic. You guys remember Ken Fox, the state attorney representing Cook County in Chicago? The Jussie Smollett case, who's still lying by saying some white MAGA men had beat him up. Okay, 3 o'clock in the morning, 20 below zero, and you're telling us that white men stop. Who got Jussie Smollett out of jail? George Soros and the cousin of Jussie Smollett, Kamala Harris. The Hungarian Prime Minister, a patriot, Prime Minister Viktor Orban, not only forced the Open Society Foundations, George Soros' foundations, to leave Hungary, but there is an international warrant out for the arrest of George Soros. For the last 30 years, George Soros, through the Open Society Foundations, has given over $30 billion to super PACs, not just in the United States, all over Eastern, Central, and Western Europe. But get back to that 2021, $500,000 was removed from the Color Exchange at the behest of George Soros. So you got Alvin Bragg by saying, oh, she's lying. Or if she was lying, why did George Soros pull his money? Again, in 2021, $500,000 was pulled from the super PAC of the Color of Change, co-founded by Van Jones, the Political Action Super PAC group, where initially George Soros gave the Color of Change $1 million to support the political legal rise of Donald Trump's enemy, Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg received $1 million through the Color of Change, but half of that money was pulled because a woman had found a complaint with the NYPD that she was sexually assaulted by the DA of Manhattan, New York County, who's trying to destroy our president, District Attorney Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg. I've got the testicular fortitude to say what needs to be said. You see, this is deep research concerning the conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. So $500,000 was pulled from George Soros and his family and given back to the Soros Fund Management in 2021, because after disturbing allegations from a former staff executive member of the Color of Change PAC, co-founded by Van Jones and James Rucker against Alvin Bragg for sexual assault. The woman was paid off. She disappeared right before the election of Alvin Bragg as the district attorney of New York County, Manhattan, New York. Van Jones knows the truth. James Rucker knows the truth. And I guarantee you, President Trump knows the truth about that sexual assault allegation against Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg. Alvin Bragg is a member of the Boule Secret Society. He's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. Going back 3 generations of the Bragg bloodline, members of the Boule Secret Society of Kappa Alpha Psi. The conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. Is your minds blown tonight? Is your minds, put up those faces if your minds are blown. Remember the text, Matthew 10:16. Remember the text, St. Luke 13:32. And remember the key verse in Song of Solomon 2:15. We'll get deeper into that when I get back to Los Angeles next week. It gets deeper. The Biden administration has already said, Pastor Colleen and Pastor Jody and Pastor Bird, that President Donald J. Trump will be the GOP nominee for the 2024 election. Said, why was he indicted? The next court date for President Trump to come back to Manhattan is in December, right before the Iowa caucus. Now think about this. 34 separate crimes that this Boule Secret Society woke, incompetent district attorney has filed against President Trump. 34 separate crimes. So the same crime was repeated. The same crime was repeated 34 times for falsifying business records. That's a lie. The Manhattan DA, Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg, said that President Donald J. Trump did not account for his financial dealings. And he said that President Trump sent his own money to various people, but we don't know who these people are, for various entities and for legal reasons. We don't know what those legal reasons are, but did not account for those financial transactions in his office records. So it's okay to destroy 33,000 emails, you see. But see, here's the problem, Alvin Bragg, that the statute of limitations has expired. District Attorney Bragg said in his press conference following Trump's indictment on this past Monday, that President Donald J. Trump falsified business records as a means of violating some other much more serious crimes. But we don't know what those crimes are, because when the media asked Bragg, he says, I don't have to tell you. That's not going to cut it. The press conference this past Monday, Bragg said that under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with the intent to defraud and the intent to conceal another crime. What crime? He says, I don't have to tell you. That's not going to cut it. That is exactly what this case is about. 34, he says, President Trump committed 34 false statements made to cover up of the crimes. What of the crimes, Pastor Sam? He said, I don't have to tell you. That's not going to cut it, Brother Bragg. These are felony crimes. This is what Bragg said. His words, these are felony crimes in New York State. He says, no matter who you are, we cannot and will not normalize serious criminal conduct. So it's okay to prosecute a bodega owner here in New York because he was defending himself from an African American who wanted to kill him. So wait a minute, now, Bragg wanted to prosecute the bodega owner for protecting his life and the life of his family. And there's another case, Pastor Colleen. Bragg was going to charge, I believe, this Haitian man, okay, with murder because the man was getting shot and the Haitian man took his gun, the man's gun, and shot. Wait a minute, Bragg was going to prosecute the victim. So people getting shot and stabbed and raped, okay? And these crimes are brought down to misdemeanors. Who's responsible? Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg. People being pushed in front of subway trains. Oh, but they're unstable. But yet, Bragg says that we cannot normalize serious criminal conduct. Bragg said that the defendant, President Trump, repeatedly made false statements on New York business records. Bragg said that Trump also calls others to make false statements. What statements? This is what Bragg said through his little legal lecture that he gave after he indicted Trump. He said that President Donald J. Trump, this is what Bragg said. Bragg said that President Donald J. Trump committed a crime. What he was saying, that Trump committed a crime not by changing business records, but by changing business records in order to conceal another serious crime. But when we ask him what that crime is, he says, I won't tell you. You know why? Because he doesn't have a case and there's no serious crime. And if there was a serious crime, why did not the Justice Department, the FBI, during the first 2 years of Biden's presidency, when the Democrats controlled both the House and the Senate, they all investigated Trump? The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Department of Justice, the DOJ, that one indictment against Trump. But all of a sudden, you get this old, large, Twinkie district attorney, Alvin, the Chipmunk Bragg, wants to come against President Trump. Alvin Bragg, you're being used. The question I have for the district attorney Bragg, what is the more serious crime? We have no idea what the crime is because Alvin Bragg has not told us what the crime is. President Donald J. Trump has not been charged with a more serious crime. Wait a minute now, but you indicted him for the crime that he might commit. Listen, Bragg, this is not the Minority Report concerning pre-crime. You cannot indict not just a sitting president, President Trump, or any other American system, American sovereign, based upon what they might do. This is not the Minority Report of pre-crime. Indictment, listen, that does not give the alleged secret crime. You see, when what Bragg is doing, Pastor Colleen, is unconstitutional. You cannot fingerprint a man and indict him and drag him to New York based upon what he might do pre-crime is unconstitutional. The fraud claim that Bragg made during his little lecture on Monday, Alvin Bragg claims, follow me students, that DJT sent money to Stormy Daniels, Stephanie Clifford, in order to influence the outcome of the 2016 presidential election. In so doing, Alvin Bragg said that Trump defrauded the voters. Bragg was saying that Trump committed a campaign financial violation. If that was the case, Pastor Colleen, why didn't the FBI arrest him 2 years ago? Why didn't the DOJ arrest him 2 years ago? Because Alvin Bragg doesn't know what the hell he is doing. I didn't cuss. He doesn't know what he's doing. Here's the problem, Alvin Bragg. President Trump did not commit a campaign finance violation. So at the federal level, there was nothing there. But all of a sudden, okay, Fat Albert comes, Twinkie, okay, being the slave of George Soros, and the Bragg family being related by George Soros through incest going back to the transatlantic slave trade. You see, the Federal Election Commission, let me educate you, Brother Bragg. You see, the Federal Election Commission did not find any crime that was committed by President Trump, nor the Trump organization, nor the Trump administration. 34 felonies makes no sense at all, Pastor Colleen. Pastor Ty, you still there? Listen, 34 felonies makes no sense at all. Trump was never indicted during the first 2 years of the Biden administration when the Democrats controlled both the House and the Senate, because there was nothing there. The Department of Justice and the Federal Election Commission did not prosecute our great president because no law was broken. Now, here comes MSNBC with Rachel Maddow, a woke demon by the name of Peter Beinart, B-E-I-N-A-R-T. Peter Beinart said, and I quote, that there is an assault on Black and Jewish and LGBTQ citizens by white Christian nationalists. He was saying that white Christian nationalists had put an assault or attacking Black and Jewish and LGBTQ people. That's a lie. Laney Davis, an attorney for Hillary Clinton in the Clinton Foundation, represents Michael Cohen. White Christian nationalist assault. The devil is a lie. What Joe Biden is doing, he's trying to hijack the 2024 presidential election by designing a third world banana republic. You see, the statute of limitations has expired because the check that, not what Trump wrote or the Trump organization or the Trump administration, the check that Michael Cohen wrote, his own money, was back in February 2017. This is 6 years later. Bragg said in that little speech this past Monday There is a New York election law. He says there is a New York election law. Now, notice, New York election laws, students, only relates to campaign finance for public office within the state of New York. Bragg is attempting to bootstrap New York State election law violations in connection to a felony that Trump has nothing to do with. State election laws do not apply to a presidential race. Let me say this again. State election laws do not apply to a presidential race because it's not a federal crime. And Trump has already been investigated by the FBI, by the Department of Justice, with no evidence of a crime. But this boule sumo wrestler is trying to make up stuff to please his slave master, George Soros. See, Bragg cannot prosecute federal crimes. He only represents Manhattan County in New York City. A federal crime, listen, Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg does not have the legal authority nor the legal jurisdictional authority to try federal crimes. He's not the United States Attorney General. He's only the district attorney for Manhattan County. For a man that's supposed to be Harvard educated, he's stupid. The conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. A state crime. What is the underlying crime? Why did Bragg wait for so long to bring an indictment against Trump? Because the deep state doesn't want Trump to run in the 2024 election. Bragg had said in that Monday press conference that New York election laws, okay, that Trump violated New York election laws in order to influence the 2016 election. That's a lie. What Bragg is trying to do, he's trying to prosecute a federal crime against Trump by using New York state law. You see, you can't do that. President Trump was not running to be governor of the state of New York, nor lieutenant governor, nor state senator, nor U.S. senator, or even at the local level. He was running to be president. That's federal. That's not New York state. Listen to the teaching. Thank you, Pastor Sam. This is called legal duplictus. What is legal duplictus? D-U-P-L-I-C-T-O-U-S, which means it is the legal treachery designed by Bragg to get Trump. 4 counts for one act. With the intent to commit a greater crime and to cover up another. What crime? He won't tell you because he says he doesn't have to. You know why? There's no crime. Bragg said, we will not normalize criminal conduct. He says that we will not normalize criminal conduct. You see, Alvin Bragg is being used. Alvin Bragg was blackmailed into indicting Trump. Let me say this again. Alvin Bragg was blackmailed into indicting Trump because early in February 2022, many prosecutors resigned from Bragg's office because Bragg did not want to indict Trump because there was no evidence. Then all of a sudden, he's after Trump because what's the blackmail? The woman that accused him in 2021 of a sexual assault that went back to 2020. This is Bishop John Wick. So Bragg is blackmailed of going after Trump, doing the dirty work of the Biden family. Alvin Bragg is being used. Bragg does not want to specify this phantom, unknown underlying crime. But the reason why Bragg doesn't want to say what crime it is, he doesn't have a case. He is saying that I'm not going to tell you what the crime is, so that way Georgia on my mind and Florida, they can use the same case against Trump just in case the New York indictment falls on the floor. You see the fox, the jackal, in the wolf. The fox, Manhattan District Court. The jackal, the state of Florida. The wolf in Georgia. The ability to prosecute a crime without being barred by double jeopardy. That's why he won't say what the crime is, because there's no crime. Because Bragg knows he doesn't have a case, so he's going to give this case over to the states of Florida and Georgia. So if I say too early what Trump did, which he didn't do anything, then Trump will be acquitted here in New York, and then there's double jeopardy concerning those cases in Florida, in Georgia. But no weapon that's formed against President Trump shall prosper. The conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. Now, here we go. It gets deeper. Can I wipe some of the anointing off? Listen. Is this teaching mind-blowing to you tonight? I said, is the teaching mind-blowing? Put up those faces if the teaching is mind-blowing. I am dissecting this case from conception to birth to now as to the true, real reasons why Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg was blackmailed into doing this. You see, Georgia and Florida want to relitigate this case out of New York. Here comes the legal psychology of Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg. Little Alvin is saying this. Bragg has taken $130,000 paid to Stormy Daniels. Bragg has taken $130,000 and he's splicing that $130,000 into 34 felony accounts, which is $3,823 per count. Bragg has created this legal theory that has never been seen nor witnessed within the history of American jurisprudence. Alvin Bragg, the district attorney of Manhattan, New York County, doesn't know how to read a calendar, Pastor Ty Kemp. because all of the 34 felony counts and the checks written by Michael Cohen to Stormy Daniels was in 2017. In 2017, President Trump was already elected. Wait a minute now. I'm confused. What Bragg is saying that President Trump was trying to influence the 2016 presidential election, but the money was not given to this hoe until 2017. You see the scam. In 2017, President Trump, according to Bragg, was trying to influence the 2016 election a year before. The checks were not written, Pastor Colleen, in 2016. They were written in 2017, long after the election and long after the inauguration, not by Trump, not by Eric, not by, listen, Don Jr., but by Michael Cohen. A year after. You see, Bragg he doesn't know how to read the calendar. Because all of the 34 counts in the checks that were written to Stormy Daniels was not in 2016 prior to the election, but was written in 2016 after the inauguration. So what Bragg is saying, in 2017, Donald Trump was trying to influence the 2016 election the year before. Does that make any sense at all? How are you going to influence an election that you already won, and that if there was any payout, it was not the year before in 2016, it was in 2017. The 2016 election had already passed. Judge Juan Manuel Merkin donated hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let me say this again. Judge Juan Manuel Merkin donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Biden campaign in 2016. Alvin Chipmunk Bragg donated thousands of dollars to the Biden campaign in 2016. President Donald J. Trump paid more taxes than any billionaire made in 2016 combined. But where did Bragg get his information that brought about this indictment? Pastor Colleen, do you know where he got his information? Not from the FBI, not from the CIA, not from the NSA, not from the DOJ, the Department of Justice. But Pastor Colleen, Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg got his information from the National Enquirer. You see, Alvin Bragg, you're trying to prosecute a sitting president who is the president of the first Constitution of 1776, while Bragg is supporting a fraudulent president of the second Constitution in 1871 that's already been dissolved the day before the January 6th siege. And that second president that's a fraud, that's Joe Biden. So Bragg was saying that all of the 34 counts passing, the statute of limitations, where the checks were written in 2017, but Bragg is saying, he was influencing the 2016 presidential election, even though the 34 so-called accounts and the checks written to Stormy was in 2017. You see, Bragg played himself, and that is the end tonight. After 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 20 seconds of the conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump, and I thank you. Twinkie Man is wait. Twinkie Man is in over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing. Strong teaching. To destroy the wolf, you have to neutralize the fox in order to expose the jackal. The fox, the jackal, the wolf, the New York City indictment. Here comes the coyote, both in the Florida and the Georgia upcoming trials. You see, they don't represent us, Pastor Hammond. They don't represent. Was this mind-blowing to you? Wait a minute. You're going to prosecute the guy, take $130,000, chop it up into 34 counts, make it a state law. But President Trump was not running for any office within the state of New York. He was running to be president, which is at the federal level. You see, Alvin Bragg is not qualified to be district attorney. Alvin Bragg was put there because he's being used by Soros to go after Trump. Bragg doesn't have a case. He has no crime, no intent. The statute of limitations passed 6 years ago. He's trying to say that President Trump influenced the 2016 election, but the counts in the checks were written the following year in 2017. Alvin Bragg doesn't know math, and Alvin Bragg doesn't know how to examine the calendar. Why? Because Alvin Bragg, Pastor Sam, was blackmailed by some powerful political people from Tammany Hall here in New York City, beginning with George Soros, in connection to this woman going back to this 2021 sexual assault that happened in 2020, but she exposed Bragg in 2021. That's why George Soros pulled his money from James Rucker's and Van Jones's super PAC called The Color of Change, because Bragg was in trouble. But yet he wants to go after President Trump because of some stinking hoe, Stormy Daniels. Thank you, everyone. See, dummy, that's all it is. Thank you, everyone, for being with the bishop tonight. Was your minds blown? Alvin the Chipmunk, Twinkie Bragg. Better worry about all the criminals running his state. Isn't that the truth? Ally 7 Deado. Okay. Raping happened. But he brings that down to Mr. Meters. Now you got Chicago has got a far left mayor. Oh, Lord. And now the Chicago Police Department, Mississippi, they said if this man in Chicago gets elected, which he did, they're going to quit. Okay? Alvin is butt broken. Oh, my God. You see that, Pastor Sam? He's butt broken. I'm not going after his wife. Okay? I'm not going after his children. That's below the belt. I'm exposing Alvin the Chipmunk Twinkie Bragg because he's trying to indict a sitting president at a state level, and Bragg doesn't know what he's doing because he's being used. And Alvin Bragg, when the crap hits the fan, Alvin Bragg, you're going down. Not George Soros, not Mayor Adams here in New York City, not Tammany Hall. Mr. Bragg, you're going down, and they're going to blame you. You see, because this thing on Monday was nothing but a spectacle. It was a scam. President Trump is playing chess. Bragg doesn't even know how to play checkers. Chicago, same machine. Pastor Renee, going back to the daily machine, it's all corruption. Okay. Lori Lightfoot. Lori Lightfoot. Did you learn something today? Put up those faces if you learned something for the first time. You see, it's a clown show, Pastor Sue. Okay. Bread and circus, Pastor. Pastor Colleen, would you say about biting? Bill back, butt broken Brandon. Listen, Pastor, this is mind blowing. Okay, let's prosecute him now because he influenced the 2016 election, but the 34 counts and the checks were not written until the following year. It's stupid. Spread this teaching to me. See, this is the reason why the deep state tried to stop this even today. Pastor Kelly, Pastor Colleen, we've had technical difficulties in the past, but never on this level. Was your minds blown? And the reason why Alvin Bragg took the case, he was blackmailed because of this woman going back to 2020 who accused him during the 2021 campaign when he was running for DA in Manhattan of sexual assault. Now, the Daily Mail, not just here in New York, but out of London, knows the woman's name. But guess what? I know her name. Thank you, everyone, for being with the bishop tonight. The information has been sent to President Trump. Thank you, everyone. I'm not going to allow the deep state, the railroad, a sitting president. That's President Trump. Okay. Love Margot. Listen, my staff and I, they want me to go down there to Mar-a-Lago. Okay. And I think I'm going to go in a couple weeks. Thank you, everyone. Okay. You see, they're walking on eggshells. See, President Trump is strong, has not shed a tear because he's a strong man. President Donald J. Trump is a man. I want you to look into my eyes, men and women. President Donald J. Trump is a man, and he's a man's man. No, what about Don Lemon? What happened to Don Sweet Tea Lemon? Bragg is going down, okay? All of the moderators, please put up the PayPal link. We need your financial help. Every moderator, and you guys have my permission to share this on Rumble, Telegram, what's the other one? Gab. You have my permission to share it on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Okay. Sweet Tea Lemon. That's right, Pastor Tyrone. You see, you and I, we're going to receive a new apostolic name at the coming of Christ, and it won't be Tuki or Ray or Tyrone. We will receive an apostolic name that we had before the fall. Another topic for another day. PayPal.me/GSRR Media Group. All the moderators, please put this up. PayPal.me/GSRR Media Group. There it goes. Right beside Pastor Tira's name, right beside Pastor Sam's name, right beside Pastor Colleen's name, right under Global Spiritual Revolution Media Group with black letters with a yellow or gold background. Just click on the link. Take your mice or mouse, I like to call it that, or your finger. Follow my finger, whether you have a desktop, laptop, Chrome tablet, Apple tablet, iPhone, iWatch, iPhone, Android, or Apple Watch. Just click on the, you see, you got a world-class apostolic political education. You see? And I'm praying for the Bragg family, and I'm praying for Alvin because he was blackmailed into this, Pastor Jody. Right beside Pastor Tira's name, right beside Pastor Sam's name, right beside Pastor I'm a Big Girl's name, right beside Pastor Jody Bird's name, right beside Pastor Sue Steady's name. Just click on the link. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't need a PayPal link. You don't need a PayPal account. Thank you, Holy Spirit. You don't need a PayPal account Just click on the link, and after you click on the link, then click send. Don't click request, click send, and please plant. We don't say the word sow here at Global Spiritual Revolution Media Group, okay? When I had a conversation with Apostle Ty Kemp and his wife the other day, I accidentally said the word sow. I said, let me correct that. Lord, forgive me. So I'm real. So we don't use the word sow because the word sow is the name of a female hog or pig. So we use the word plant, okay? And so this is what the Vatican tried to do. So click right beside Pastor Colleen's name, right beside Pastor Sam's name. Okay, and I'm going to put up as well. Just click on, ladies and gentlemen, paypal.me/GSRR Media Group, paypal.me/GSRR Media Group. Oh my God. Thank you so much, guys, for sending the Lord's tithe. paypal.me/GSRR Media Group. Okay. When you give unto the Lord, he'll give you more to give. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Okay. Look at you this past Tuesday. Yes. Listen, I do apologize, Pastor Rita. Because my schedule has been so busy. We were scheduled to do it on Wednesday last night, but I'm telling you, Pastor Sam, the technical difficulties, we've had that in the past, but never on this level. But we know why, okay? PayPal.me/GSR Media Group. Plant the Lord's tithe. If your gross each week is 3,000, plant 300. That's the 10th of 3,000. If your gross is 2,200, if your gross is 1,100, the Lord, listen, don't tell me you got to pray about it. No. See, God will not negotiate with your disobedience. I said it, God will not negotiate with your disobedience, okay? PayPal.me/GSR Media Group. Also, go to Cash App. I heard some news. I think Pastor Sam and who else told me? I think Pastor Terrell Jones, and I think it was Pastor Jody. I'm not sure. Pastor Terrell, Pastor Jody, Pastor Sam had said to me, I think yesterday, sent me a video that the founder of the Cash App was murdered. Can anyone type up his name right now? The founder of Cash App was stabbed. That is not by accident. Oh, thank you, Marcia. Thank you. Plant the Lord's tithe, okay? The Cash App founder was murdered in San Francisco. Someone wanted his company, okay? Plant on holy ground and go to Cash App. Our Cash App link is $ in Global Revolution 1. Now, Global Revolution is all capitalized upper cap letters, okay? $ Global Revolution 1, $ Global Revolution 1, okay? Plant right now. Give us special financial gift of $70, okay? You should be like popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. 70, 80, 100, 200, 300, 500, 1,000, okay? Also, the rest of you, go to PayPal, okay? Go to paypal.me/GSRR Media Group. And please, all of the moderators, Pastor Sam, Pastor Colleen, Pastor Mark, please put up the PayPal link right now, paypal.me. Don't leave us viewers. I got some more information about Twinkie Bragg, okay? paypal.me/GSRR Media Group, paypal.me/GSRR Media Group. I'll mention of Tina on Tuesday when I get back to Los Angeles. Did you hear about the report came out today, Pastor Sam, how Lance Reddick had died? And also on the same day, it came out that how the rapper Coolio, is it Coolio or Julio? Coolio had died. Now, what percentage would it be for the autopsy reports to come out about Lance Reddick and the former rapper Coolio on the same day? Okay. The Fed just released their own version of the Cash App. You serious, Pastor Sippy? I tell you right now, everyone go to paypal.me/GSR Media Group. I didn't know that, Pastor Sippy. PayPal.me/GSR Media Group. Okay, they wanted to take it over. The young man who found a Cash App dead. Okay, go to right now, all of the moderators. Okay, Coolio died, yes, and they're saying that his autopsy report came out today, including Lance Reddick's on the same day today. Oh, I tell you right now, if you plan on cash, God's going to protect your finances. but the rest of you go to paypal.me/GSR Media Group, right beside Apostles, True Witnesses names, right beside Pastor Colleen's name, right beside Pastor Sam's name, right beside Pastor I'm a Big Girl's name, right beside Pastor Tierra's name. Please plant $70, $80, $90. You should be like popcorn, 100, 500, 300, 800. We got sons and daughters in the entertainment field here in New York City, working on Broadway, in Los Angeles, mostly B actors. We got 3 A-list actors whose names I will never reveal. They're in that chat room under anonymous names. Okay. They give $1,000 each week. Okay. Their children, some of their grandchildren are blown away by the bishop's teaching. Okay. Bob Lee was the Cash App founder. Interesting. Okay. Oh my God. PayPal.me/GSR Media Group. PayPal.me/GSR Media Group. Thank you so much, Pastor Sue Stedding. Thank you, Pastor Sue. And thank you so much. Continue the plant. You see, no one is teaching this. No one. Not on the Crack News Network with Don Sweet Tea Lemon, not at MSNBC with Rachel Calmato and Peter Bynard. Okay, Binary, and then Joy Crisco Oya Reed. These devils will not teach you the truth. Okay, we got a few patriots at Fox and Tucker and Judge Janine. Okay, I love Jesse Waters. Okay, but the rest of them are suspect. Right beside Pastor True Witness's name, right beside Pastor I'm a Big Girl's name, right beside Pastor Sam's name, right beside Pastor Colleen's name. Plant $70 or more, please. If you enjoyed this teaching, and this teaching was it mind-blowing to you tonight, this is the reason why Bragg was forced to indict Trump, because Bragg was blackmailed. Okay, no one is going to tell you this on the mainstream media. Support our global movement here at Global Spiritual Revolution Media Group, New York, Los Angeles. God willing, pray for me. I'll be going back to Los Angeles on Wednesday morning. Pray for me, okay? The Crack News Network, that's right, Pastor, I'm a Big Girl, okay? Now, even those on the left, Pastor Sippy, they're questioning Alvin Bragg, okay? It's like, it's like sending a sheep to a trough to get something to eat. And when the sheep get to the trough, there's no food there, okay? Oh, my God. Listen, was this mind-blowing today? Thank you for being with the bishop. I'm going to blow my nose. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Thank you for being with the bishop today. This is scholarship teaching, okay? At an apostolic level, and everything is based on God's word, okay? Oh, God. But if Don Lemon was white, he would have been fired a long time ago, okay? Thank you, everyone. Pastor Sippy, thank you. And also, I want to announce, too, Pastor Sean Lewis of Global Spiritual Revolution Media Group Detroit. He's putting up some powerful videos of the bishop's teachings, okay? He's on Facebook, I think, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. He's fine. He's not asking money. He's just putting up our videos, okay? Please, PayPal right now, paypal.me/GSR Media Group. You see, this is the awakening, Pastor Sam. And Pastor Sippy, I thank God that all of you are praying. That's because they blackmailed him and they are worried they can't trust him. Pastor Sippy, oh, Lord have mercy. Pastor Sippy, you're a powerful woman of God. And I'm telling you, when the pressure hits the fan, Bragg's life is on the line. I'm not threatening him. Don't come after me, NYP. I'm not threatening him. What I'm saying, you see, he was blackmailed, Mississippi. This was exposed to me, and I know people who work for the Daily Mail, not just here in New York City, but in London. I have the woman's name, but I will never tell because I'm not going to end up 6 feet under. I heard about that today, Pastor Colleen. I thank God for Pastor Sam sending me the information. I think Pastor Jody did too. I can't remember, or Pastor Terrell. I know Pastor Sam sent that to me. Leonardo DiCaprio testified in the Fungi's lobbying trial that the financier Holo tried to funnel $30 million to Obama. You see, they're turning on each other now. Thank you, Pastor Colleen. Okay? Because Leonardo DiCaprio is awakening, not through woke, but he's awakening apostolically. That's why God sent me to Hollywood. Do you understand? Okay? Ooh, they will use you and feed you to the wolves. The fox spoils the vine, the work of the Lord. The jackal contaminates the vine to make way for the wolf to come and destroy. We're not going to allow Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg, the deep state, to destroy our country. We have to take our country back, okay? Obama and Big Mike doesn't surprise me, okay? And you know, did you hear about this, Pastor Sippy? The sovereigns, the citizens of Chicago who don't want to be citizens anymore, they want to be sovereigns. Those on the South Side, black folk, Pastor Sippy, they say we cannot afford to stay even on the South Side because Barack and Michael Obama want to build this Obama library that's going to jack up home and real estate property prices. You see, Barack Obama doesn't care. Barack Obama is a billionaire, okay? Going back to Africa. Okay, let him go back to Africa. Stay there, okay? Right beside Pastor Colleen's name, paypal.me/GSR Armenia Group. PayPal.me/GSR Armenia Group. Fox, Jackal, and the Wolf, Destructor. That's right, Pastor. I'm a big girl. Woo! Thank you, everyone, for being with the bishop tonight. Pray for me tomorrow. I have 2 meetings, a lunch meeting and a dinner business meeting with private financial supporters, conservative men who want to support not just our global movement here in New York City and in Los Angeles, but also want to support our upcoming 2024 Global Spiritual Movement Television TV talk show through the Apple TV network and the Apple TV Plus network. So pray for the bishop, okay? God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. And God willing, Lord willing, I will be back in Los Angeles on Wednesday. Okay, I can't say what flight. I got to be careful. Okay, and listen, NYPD, I'm not threatening District Attorney Bragg, but I want everyone to know he was blackmailed. Okay, and as Pastor Sippy said, I'm telling you, Bragg he's under the gun. He's under pressure. He's under pressure. And he has already destroyed himself, okay? Thank you, everyone, for being with the bishop tonight. Please plant. 3 of you plant $1,000. You might be a millionaire or close to it, and what we've been going through for the past 2 to 3 years has not put a dent into your finances. Plant $1,000, please. Ladies and gentlemen, plant $1,000 at paypal.me/GSR Media Group. And I will put that up right now. And that will be it tonight. PayPal.me/GSR Media Group. PayPal.me/GSR Media Group. There it goes. It's under Global. Follow my finger. Follow my fingers right there. under Global Spiritual Revolution Media Group with black letters with the yellow or gold background. After you click on the link, on the PayPal link, then click send. Don't click request, click send. Plant $70 or $80 or $100. I thank God for Pastor Chris Harris in Long Beach, California. Thank you, Pastor Harris. Continue to plant $300, $400, $500. If you give $1,000, the rest of you give your very best. Don't give God scraps like Cain did. Okay. Let Barack Obama go back to Africa. Okay. Listen. Oh my God. I thank you guys. Thank you, Bishop, and love y'all. Thank you, Pastor Sippy. Love every one of you. Thank you, Pastor Sam, Pastor Terrell Jones, Pastor Jody. You guys keep sending me videos. You guys are feeding me as I'm exposing this every Tuesday and Thursday. We apologize for not having class on Tuesday and also for the technical difficulties we had last night. Forgive us, okay? Tuesday, I had to be down in Manhattan. Well, I'm on the Upper West Side, but I had to be at the Manhattan District Court to interview people. And I was interviewing people on my cell phone, okay? Taped a lot of people that would be shown on our radio show on next week, okay? It's PayPal, not PayPal, okay? So let me put it in one more time. PayPal, PAL.me/GSRR Media Group. There it goes, PayPal.me/GSRR Media Group. It's under Global Spiritual Revolution Media Group with black letters with a yellow or gold background. Click on the link. And after you click on the PayPal link, then click send. Don't click request, click send, and plant $100, plant $500, plant $1,000. Pastor Sippy, you gotta take some of these teachings. I mean, you gotta take splices of tonight's teaching and put them on Instagram. This is heavy. Was it mind blowing tonight, Pastor April? It was mind blowing. And we got to pray for District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Pray for him and pray for his family, his beautiful wife and beautiful children. Okay? He was blackmailed into this, Pastor Sippy. He was suckered into this. Okay? He's in way over his head. Share this throughout the planet. Thank you, everyone. Good night from New York City. It's 11:39 p.m. here in Manhattan. And that is it after 3 hours, 11 minutes, and 30 seconds of the conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. And I thank you. I'll see you guys. Matter of fact, I may even fly out Tuesday morning so we can have a Tuesday class. I think I may end up doing that. Flying out Tuesday morning, okay? Now, if I'm tired Monday night because I got a radio show, I may want to rest up on Tuesday and fly back Wednesday morning and teach on Wednesday. But you know what? We're going to have 2 classes next week, either Tuesday or Thursday or Wednesday and Thursday, okay? So God bless you. That went quick. That's right, Pastor Jilly. Love every one of you. President Trump is still our president. He still has the nuclear codes. And the Air Force One that Joe is riding in, that was an old Air Force One, Pastor Bigger and Pastor Colleen, that the Biden administration had to get because the official Air Force One is at Mar-a-Lago. Because President Trump is still the president of the first Constitution. Thank you, everyone. Let's keep America great again. Pastor Rita, always capitalize God as capital G, capital O, capital D, okay? That's a habit you guys got to break. You guys, I know you make God, but when you type in God in small letters, G-O-D, you're not talking about the God of heaven. You're talking about a demon. So we have to be careful. Retype that, Pastor Rita, and capitalize God as capital G, capital O, capital D. Okay. God bless you. And it's Tyler Perry's wife. Isn't that the truth, Pastor Renee? Share this teaching Was it clear tonight? Was there any buffering tonight? It's clear. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you guys from Los Angeles either next Tuesday or next Wednesday. We will have class either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll probably will push my way to get back on Tuesday, okay, afternoon, just in case. I mean, just in time for Tuesday night's class, and then of course there'll be Thursday's class as well. So next week we're going to have some powerful classes, and then after next week the bishop is going on holiday unless the Lord tells me to teach another week. Okay, so God bless you. Share this teaching on the conspiracy to destroy President Donald J. Trump. You receive a world-class apostolic spiritual and political and legal education that the mainstream media will not tell you. God bless you. Can't wait. Thank you, Pastor Ewing. I'll see you guys next week in the city of Los Angeles. Okay, here on Global Spiritual Revolution Media Group, New York, Los Angeles. God bless you. Good night. And we'll see you guys soon. Remember, the bishop is in love with you. Don't think it's strange when I say I'm in love with you. It means I love you as Christ loves you. Thank you. God bless you. I'll see you next week from Los Angeles.